Welcome back to the Austin Heights development at the old MG site at Low Hill Lane in Longbridge. In part 1 and 2 we explored some of the history of the Rover site, the developers who purchased the land after the collapse of Rover, their origins, and their progression through to St. Modwin Board's decision to sell the company. Before that though, we'll see a short recap from October to see how much progress has been made in the last 2.5 months. The drone pilot planned to speak with the contractors regarding their plan to fly over site, but found this entrance closed. They made their way to the main MG site gate that was still open, but in the process of closing. Having spotted what he believed to be a security guard in a high-vis jacket, they entered to discuss the plan to fly over the site and inquire whether permission would be granted to conduct the flight from there. The person he met, however, was an employee of a contractor, not connected to McAuliffe and not employed directly by MG. By this time, the gate had shut, time was getting on, and with other projects to fulfill that day, the drone flyer, who in retrospect agreed this was not a wise choice, took the decision to take off from the land owned by St. Modwin, whose parent company is Blackstone. The drone footage was captured and the drone was set to return to home. From the footage you see the red car go past and then return pulling up alongside the flyer.
You alright?
Yeah, fine.
Who signed you in on site?
Sign me in?
Yeah, has anyone signed you in? Are you...
No, I just walked in, the gates were open.
Would you mind leaving site, please?
Oh, why? Who are you, sorry?
I work here.
Yeah, who are you there?
I'm the technical manager.
Okay.
I look after the technical department.
I'm just getting some footage of the new site.
Which is fine.
Yep.
But can I ask you don't do it on our premises, please? You need permission to come on.
Oh, sorry, because the gate is open, I didn't realise.
Do you make a habit of walking into places where the gate's open, or
well,
technically you're on private property?
Implied right of access, the gate's open. Do you know that rule? You work for MG or?
MG.
So, what about McAuliffe?
Nothing to do with me.
They're here, aren't they? You're asking me to leave?
If you wouldn't mind, yeah.
Okay.
Obstacle sensing unavailable. Fly with caution.
The drone was landed and the flyer was planning to leave. Whilst in the process of packing the drone away, a worker on the forklift asked about the drone and the flyer spoke with them answering their questions. No criminal offence had taken place, as at most this would be deemed trespass, which is a civil matter. The flyer agreed to the request from the technical manager from MG to leave the premises, and was in the process of doing so, but as the gate may still have been shut, this may have prevented them doing so. It was at this point another vehicle approached. The driver stated that they were security, and they was preventing the flyer from leaving. There was a brief altercation between the two of them, and security stated that the police had been called and were on the way. 4 police units, consisting of 8 members of police, attended what was a civil trespass. This after the person in question was asked to and in the process of leaving. Was this a waste of police resources? Let me know in the comments section if you agree or not. According to the drone flyer, he met with the security guard involved in the altercation following this, and the meeting was amicable and both parties left on good terms, hence the blurring of footage containing them and the absence of any footage of the altercation itself. He did say, however, that the forklift driver he spoke to had agreed he was assaulted and had recorded it on his phone, but changed his mind when the police arrived for some reason, saying the footage didn't record. Moving back to the footage and continuing from part 2, where we were about to discuss the board of St. Modwin's decision to sell to Blackstone. The single biggest influence was in June 2021 was when Blackstone offered St. Modwin 560p per share, which was a significant premium over St. Modwin's trading price at the time. For shareholders, this was an immediate, guaranteed return hard to refuse in a volatile market. The founding family, who held around 6.6% of shares, backed the deal early. The board also unanimously recommended it. When both the leadership and the legacy shareholder support a sale, it becomes extremely difficult for the wider shareholder base to oppose it. As St. Modwin had begun a strategic pivot towards logistics, Blackstone wanted to capture this, as logistics, not house building, was their main interest. This was crucial. St. Modwin had a 19 million square feet logistics development pipeline, with major clients like Amazon, DHL, and Ocado. The pandemic accelerated e-commerce, and logistics became one of the hottest asset classes in the world. Blackstone was already one of the world's largest logistics landlord, along with Prologis, and wanted to expand aggressively in the UK. St. Modwin's pipeline was a perfect fit. Their structure was attractive. Blackstone valued the company's three-part structure: logistics, high-growth industrial assets, a growing house-building arm, strategic land and regeneration, long-term land promotion, and master planning. This gave Blackstone a vertically integrated platform: land, logistics, and housing. The market uncertainty made a cash exit appealing that the board argued the offer provided certainty, immediate value, and reduced exposure to economic volatility. This was during a period of supply chain disruption, inflationary pressure, construction cost increases, planning system delays, and most of all a guaranteed cash exit that looked safer than riding out the storm. Blackstone promised to accelerate growth. Their pitch was simple: we will invest more, build faster, and scale the business beyond what St. Modwin can do alone. They planned to inject capital, expand logistics development, grow St. Modwin Homes, replace the board and leadership team, and employ a more aggressive growth strategy, which appealed to the shareholders wanting faster returns. In summary, St. Modwin sold to Blackstone because the offer was financially irresistible. The board and founding family were fully in support of it. Blackstone wanted the logistics pipeline, and the company's structure was strategically valuable. Add market uncertainty, and this made a cash exit attractive. Blackstone promised accelerated growth, and these combination made the sale almost inevitable. So following the takeover, was the plan followed? Was the desired outcomes of growth expectations achieved? With Blackstone's biggest priority being the logistics strategy, they've committed significant investment to grow St. Modwin rapidly, with most of the investment focused on logistics. They have since merged St. Modwin's logistics into a much larger UK logistics platform called Endurant, consolidating 26 million square feet of industrial property across 25 plus acquisitions. As previously stated, this was not the case for the housebuilding arm of the business. This was abandoned and not integrated into its other housing assets such as Sage Homes, where Blackstone is the majority owner in a joint venture with real estate investor Vistry Group, which as of 2025, it continues to be the largest UK provider of newly built affordable housing, with a portfolio of approximately 19,000 to 22,660 homes. In 2025, Blackstone sold St. Modwin Homes to Miller Homes for £215 million. The main reason for this is believed to be because the business models were fundamentally incompatible. The comparison being Sage's focus being on low risk, long-term ownership of affordable and social housing, and St. Modwin Homes being a traditional house builder that carries high capital costs and risks of direct construction. To compare both these models, one being St. Modwin has to meet potential rising costs to build homes that then depend on selling those homes before moving on to the next plot of land, which could be at times when the markets are volatile. Alternative, buy the house that's built once to rent out, receive monthly income. It's either a risky one of sale against a longer term income and ownership of existing assets. So what is clear is that Blackstone only had eyes for the logistics and strategic land regeneration side of the business. But before abandoning the housing arm of the company, the homes division performance improved before the sale under Blackstone's ownership. St. Modwin Homes turned over £368 million in 2022, delivering 1,313 homes and making a £5.4 million pre-tax profit. This made it an attractive asset for Miller Homes acquisition for £215 million in January 2025. So the land we see in view is now owned by Vistry Group after the sale from Blackstone in October 2024. The exact price of the sale of this piece of land wasn't made public, but in June 2024, it is believed a deal was struck between both parties to be worth £580 million. The deal involved Blackstone being allowed to purchase 1,750 homes over 36 sites owned by Vistry Group. Vistry Group are the builders, and in this scenario similar to Miller Homes, were owned by the private equity firm Apollo Group. There is an expectation to sell houses privately alongside those buying to rent to maximize profit opposed to selling in bulk to partners. This is similar to Sage Homes' partnership with Blackstone and Vistry's partnerships with Bromford Housing and Sigma. One maximizes profit, but is dependent on private individual sales and the length of time a sale can take. The other is a guaranteed influx of cash, but with a reduction in overall profit. It's easy to see now why equity investment firms would walk away from the building side of the business. Blackstone's Leave Living brand endorses a core plus and perpetual capital approach, whereby they're happy to sell the housing arm and the messy job of building them while maintaining landlord status. For Apollo, Miller Homes' purchase of a St. Modwen housing arm from Blackstone in February 2025 was to expand and grow their investment, whilst Blackstone retained the logistic and strategic land side of the business. They did increase the value of the house building arm through growth and profit. It suited Blackstone to sell, and Miller Homes was happy to buy. Apollo's plan would try to do the same, focus on fast growth, build Miller Homes, increase its value, make it more profitable, and then exit either by selling at profit or floating on the stock exchange. This brings us to the end of part 3. I hope you enjoyed this account of the many players involved in the shaping of Longbridge and beyond. Having now covered original ownership and the sales of land here, all future focus on this development will now remain with Vistry Group. Please leave a comment regarding any of the issues raised in the video, give it a like if you enjoyed what you saw, and please subscribe if not done so already. It costs nothing and it will help the channel to grow. Thanks if you watched till the end. See you next time.